All right, welcome in is Ricky's Mailbox. You can catch myself, Tyrone Johnson, Savannah Kelleher on the best show ever. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 97.5 The Fanatic and on NBC Sports Philadelphia. But here we go. We take your questions, you send them in, you do it however you can. You can do it on Twitter, you can do it on Instagram. Let us know your Phillies questions that you have, and we're going to answer them to the best of our abilities. What do we got, Dill?
This one is from Mike Gradle. Who is the better choice to be JT's backup, Stubbs or Marchand?
All right, I think this is pretty simple. Okay, let me start with the facts. Marchand does not have any more options to go down to AAA, so that's check mark number one for Marchand. Number two, Stubbs does have an option still. He can be sent back down to AAA, so that's another minus point for Garrett Stubbs. But I think you have to look at JT, and he's getting up there in age. He's had some injuries the last couple seasons. And the one thing that kind of stands out is the Phillies want to take away some of his games behind the plate. And I think it really comes down to an equation. How many games is JT not going to catch behind the plate? I think if it's 40 or more, I think then you're looking at Rafael Marchand as the backup. If it's less than that, then you might be looking at Stubbs again. I think Marchand deserves a chance. Every time he's been up, he's gotten the job done. He handles the pitching staff very well. Defensively, he's a pretty good catcher, and he shows some offense when he's been up to the big leagues. Hasn't really shown as much down the minors, but given the opportunity, I think Rafael Marchand, he's got the edge right now.
This one is from Kyle Joseph. Will Trea stop swinging for the fences and just put the damn ball in play?
Okay, first and foremost, let's just say you're not going to change the stripes of a zebra, right? I mean, this guy's been around a long time, veteran of the game. And he's been there for the points of which the game has started changing, where a drop, lift, and separate type swing has come into play. The home runs have come more into play. There's a lot more thought process of how you should be swinging the bat. But with Trea Turner, I'm a firm believer this guy goes gap to gap. He's going to be wearing out the baselines because if he starts laying off of those pitches over his head that he swings and misses, that's number one. Number two, he's kind of gotten into the Castellanos groove at times where he gets a 1-2, 0-2 pitches and swinging at pitches in the dirt, sliders in the dirt. You got to lay off those also. I think that's the main reason why the Phillies want to put him in the one at the leadoff spot. I mean, think about it for a second. Number one, you want him to see more pitches. Why? Because that guy on deck, that guy sitting in the dugout, gets to see what the pitcher has right away. So, I mean, they want him to go deeper in counts, trust himself with two strikes. That should take away some of the, how do you put this, bad judgment calls on his part of swinging pitches out of the zone. The other thing, they want him to use his legs, which means you don't have to hit the ball up in the air every single time. What you can concentrate on doing is hitting the ball with backspin back at the pitcher. The mistakes will go out of the ballpark. The ones you hit square are going to go into the left center field gap, right center field gap. And what do we know about Turner? That he could fly a little bit. So those singles are doubles. Those doubles are triples. That's why you want him up the top.
This one is from the Ginger with Soul.
Ginger with Soul.
With the ups and downs expected from our bats, do you think our pitching will carry us to win a division?
Let me put it this way. When your number 5 is Ranger Suarez, that's pretty impressive if you ask me. And your number 6 is a guy named Andrew Painter who's kind of waiting in the wings. I look at it like this. Zach Wheeler, he has been in the top 2 in Cy Young's 2 out of the last 3 years, I believe it is. He's almost automatic every time he goes on the mound. He may have a bad start every 10 starts, but besides that, you know what you're getting from him. Christopher Sanchez apparently has added a couple miles an hour onto his fastball. At his size, that ball's getting to the plate pretty quick. He's got a tremendous changeup to go along with it. So he's probably going to be in the number 2 spot the way they're going to try to break up the order. Aaron Nola is just Aaron Nola. I mean, anybody who doesn't like Aaron Nola out there, that's your own fault. You got to go find a way to start liking this guy. I mean, he does everything that you want in a pitcher. 6+ innings every time out. He does exactly what he needs to do on the mound. He's a tough pitcher, and people don't give him a lot of credit for it. And Luzardo is one of those guys where if he's healthy, he's nasty. I think it's that simple. And a fastball change-up type guy also that could get the ball up around 97 miles an hour. So just right there, I gave you the starting rotation, and I think that starting rotation I would put up against any starting five in Major League Baseball. Also, the bullpen. I mean, you're looking at a Romano who looks to be healthy right now. He's going to be closing. You have a Ryan Kirkering kind of waiting in the wings for that job, and he'll get it at some point. Strom needs a little bit of a bounce back. I know he struggled in the playoffs last year a little bit, and you'd like to see him start off strong this year. And Alvarado is in the best shape of his life, which is scary. And he added a fourth pitch, so that's a pretty good bullpen to go along with it.
This one is from Silvana Kelleher.
Oh, boy.
If Ricky could have any Phillies head of hair, who would he pick?
That's a good question. Any Phillies head of hair? I'd probably go with Nola. Come on, Nola's a guy who he could have the long bushy hair at the end, but then when he cuts it short, he looks sharp there too. So I think Aaron Nola's that guy. I'm definitely not a Marsh. Can you see me with my hair down to my belly button and wetting it every half inning? I can't see me doing that. That would drive me up a wall. Bohm's got a good set of hair, but with the hat on, it looks like it takes its toll. With the hat popping off, the helmet popping off, a little too much hair in there for me. So I'm gonna stick with Aaron Nola, although I kind of got the Zach Wheeler. I'm heading towards Zach Wheeler more than anything else. No luck there.
I apologize to this person. I forgot to actually write down the name, but they asked, is Gabriel Rincones Jr.'s good spring worth getting excited about?
Yes and no, because in my opinion, spring training means about as much as nothing. I mean, there's guys working on things in spring training. They don't really know him at the big league level, so that it's hard to get a scouting report, especially early on in spring training. You start getting to the second and third weeks of spring training, and he's belting the ball around the ballpark. Then the eyes will open up. Not a great defender, but he does have some pop in his bat. So I think he's one of those guys to kind of keep a side eye on. You don't necessarily have to put him in focus every time, but as long as you're kind of keeping an eye on him, if he keeps improving throughout the spring, I think that's only beneficial to the Phillies as time moves forward.
This one's from Godfather Legend. How many wins should we expect the Phillies to have?
Wow. I would say anywhere in that 95 to 100 range. Do I think they can get over 100 with this pitching staff? Yes. But as has been asked a question, I think the one thing that's always going to be there is when do the hitters go in those slumps? When do they kind of as a team start chasing pitches in the dirt? And it happens about twice a year. It's just how long does it last? I think the Phillies have a better pitching staff than anybody in the NL East. So I think that makes it a little easier. I think the Marlins are just not very good, and the Nationals this year are not going to be very good. So those are two teams that you could eat up a ton of wins. Obviously, the Braves and the Mets, it's usually close to a 50-50 split. But if you go the other way on one of those teams, you're talking upwards of 100 wins, maybe a little bit even more than that. I think this team is this is a good team. This is a good baseball team. And I think there's one thing that we always forget is that they are good. And I think we take that for granted at times. There's times where you look at the team and say, why aren't they winning 110 games? Why aren't they winning more? Everything we look at right now is either you win a World Series or no now. And sometimes that's fair, sometimes it's unfair. But this group has been together now in total, 3 straight years now. So you would expect this is a big year for this Philadelphia Phillies team to try to win a World Series. So, I mean, I just look at it as, you know what, 100 wins, I'd be happy. I'd be happy with 95 wins. I mean, they're going to make the playoffs. That's the way I look at it. All right, there you have it. Ricky's Mailbox. You can catch myself, Silvana Kelleher, Tyrone Johnson. Best show ever, 97.5 The Fanatic, NBC Sports Philadelphia. We're on 2 to 6, Monday through Friday. Hey everybody, thanks for watching our YouTube. If you want to help us out, go ahead and like and subscribe for us. If you liked what you saw, go right over here to our playlists and pick out whatever you want to watch.